My Roommate is a Vampire by Dennis the Menace. Read by Deathlight. Chapter 12, The Secret World. You could call me many things. A Renaissance mayor, a musician, an artist, a fool. I was all those things. Now you can add monster to the list. They were carrying me to some cottage near the Everfree. Go away! No candy here! No visitors on Nightmare Night! Fluttershy, it is I, Luna. We need your assistance. How did it come to this? Was it a series of bad decisions on my part? Was it all a situation of circumstance and coincidences? Oh my! The Pegasus squeaked. That looks nasty. No, there was no choices made. Things just happened. One thing led to another. That's life. And life, my friends, wasn't fair. The circle of life, it didn't stop, it didn't end. It just kept going, like time. That is how life worked. You could spend your life asking those questions, like, why me? What if? My life had been full of what ifs and maybes, lately with some could haves, what ifs, and should haves. Looking back, if I had done things differently, would anything have changed? Would I still be the same Octavia today, currently walking the fine line between life and death? Lay here on the couch, prop her head up. A soft voice commanded. Octi, stay with me. You're gonna be fine. Vinyl said, touching my forehead. She's hot. She lowered her head, her horn near my wound before Luna pushed her away gently. We would not advise that. Magic may be helpful for small cuts and scrapes, but it may only serve to worsen the injury if you try. Vinyl nodded, looking and appropriately feeling hopeless. She stomped her hoof, growling. Fluttershy asked, if you don't mind me asking, shouldn't we take her to the hospital? No! Vinyl and Luna shouted. She squeaked. If I had done something differently, it'd be somebody else looking back, asking a different set of questions. Right now, things were changing, on the outside and inside. Things monstrous. The pain in my legs seemed to grow more and more as I writhed. Fluttershy came closer, a roll of bandages in her mouth. I'm sorry, she told me. Please, do your best, Fluttershy, Princess Luna said smoothly as she worked on my side. The gashes were very shallow, though they oozed profusely. She used her magic to dab at them, causing me to wince. She set about trying to use some rubbing alcohol. The touch of the soaked cotton to my side made me whimper, though it was nothing compared to the pain in my leg. I could have used a drink, right then, right there. Something strong enough to make me pass out. I weakly gasped. Fluttershy inched closer, pouring a bottle of water over the bite marks on my leg. I hissed, clenching the sheets beneath me. I'm sorry. Vinyl let me squeeze her hoof. I squeezed it as tight as I could. The blood washed away from the bites in my leg. I wasn't prepared for what came next. Fluttershy began pouring rubbing alcohol on my leg. It was like my leg was being set on fire. I couldn't help it. I cried. I screamed. Throwing my head back, I thrashed, trying to fight Vinyl and Luna's grip on me, howling. Fluttershy wouldn't stop apologizing, even as she began bandaging my leg, and Luna began using butterfly stitches on my side. The pain was unbearable, to the point where I was going blind. I couldn't see anything. The sides of my vision were blacking out, and then it seemed that the pain began to subside. I laid there, my chest heaving as I stared up at the ceiling, watching the fan spin round and round. Hey. I croaked back, sitting up to look at my leg. Something compelled me to look. Morbid curiosity? The pain in my side seemed to multiply as I tried to move. Oh, don't do that, Fluttershy said. I eased back to the cushions, breathing slowly. How do you feel? Luna asked. Better, I answered curtly. Are you gonna deal with me now? She looked rather surprised. Well, no. Did you hear that? I nodded lamely. The Princess of the Night didn't seem to be so mysterious and imposing anymore, as she seemed to shrink a little and blush. We are sorry. Was she apologizing? Our choice of words could have been a little better, she admitted. Though we must say, it's very rude to eavesdrop. Really, Octi? I thought there were no more secrets! I heard suddenly, my voice hardly elegant, betraying my lack of composure. Vinyl looked horrified. I had screamed at her in jest only several times. This time, I was furious. I'm sorry, I said, ashamed. But you promised me, didn't you? It's okay. It wasn't Octi speaking. What did she mean by that? Luna continued to pester me. Are you alright? Any discomfort? Cravings? I'm fine! Really? I snapped, a little more testily than I should have. You were bit by a creature most foul, Octavia. I shouldn't have followed you two, I sighed, leaning back. Of course there would be wolves in there. Vinyl and Luna glanced at each other, once again keeping me out of their imaginary conversation. Yeah. Yes, a wolf, she said slowly. Right. Could you open a window? It's a bit stuffy in here. Of course. I had to get out. I had to move around. I felt rejuvenated. I felt drawn to the moonlight shining through the window. I rolled over slowly into a standing position. Oh no! Fluttershy panicked. Vinyl was frantically waving her arms. Don't! I hobbled over. I just need some fresh air. I moved closer to the window, tearing it open and basking in the light of the moon, breathing slowly. Unbeknownst to me, my deep breaths slowly turned into ragged huffs. I felt itchy all over. I began to salivate for no particular reason, pounding with my tongue out as my tail wagged. Yep. I turned around, raising my eyebrow. What? I growled. They all stared. Fluttershy gasped, pointing at me, stammering, pale as ever. Fluttershy, you are promised not to speak of what you're about to see. I don't understand. Promise me. I promise. Vinyl raised her hoof, ready to knock her out.
Vinyl, don't you dare!
I snarled, lunging at her. I moved faster than I'd ever moved before. Vinyl sat, her jaw agape as she sat on her hindquarters, staring at me.
Why are you all looking at me like that? Don't look at me like that. Do I have something in my teeth?
They all shook their heads.
Octi, show me!
They all glanced warily at each other. Princess Luna nodded, and Vinyl brought a mirror over, wrapped in her magic. My ears withered and I cocked my head, trying to comprehend the creature looking back at me in my reflection. The first thing I noticed was my mane was a disaster. Absolutely horrendous. It seemed as if I was having a bad hair day, if you could call it that. My grey coat had grown exponentially, at least an inch or two longer. On the end of my muzzle, I now had a nose, black and wet. My eyes had turned yellow, bloodshot and feral. Opening my mouth, I could see that not only I'd grown canines, but I had two sets of very sharp teeth on the upper and lower jaw, meant for ripping and tearing. Down on my hooves, I'd grown a pair of wicked-looking claws. I was gonna need one heck of a manicure after this. My eye twitched and I stared at myself for a while, trying to take it all in.
So what, is this some kind of joke?
That would have been nice, wouldn't it? In my imaginary world. Vinyl would have told me that this was all some elaborate prank on her part. The fangs in her mouth were plastic, and I wouldn't be a...
Am I a werewolf now?
I asked, my voice a low growl. It was deeper, much more harsh to listen to. It was hard to talk with a mouthful of sharp teeth. Not quite. Werewolves only transform in the light of the moon. While that applies to you, it would make much more sense to call you a lycan, yes. A lycan, a monster. Unlike a werewolf, you have been gifted with abilities to transform at will.
Gifted?
I scoffed, wheeling on her.
You think this is a gift?
I believe your situation isn't as awful as it seems, Luna said quietly. Was this a curse or a blessing? Peeling out the bandages would reveal that my wounds have already begun healing. I felt stronger, faster, sharper. My hearing was starting to become more acute, and I was already beginning to experience these smells. I turned away, gasping, resting my hooves against the window pane, my claws digging into the wood.
I never wanted this.
No pony does. I never asked for any of this. But since when did I ever have to invite trouble in? Trouble came to me. I was like a magnet for trouble. Fluttershy, you can come down now, Luna called upstairs. Oh, no. Thank you, Princess. That's awfully kind of you. But I'd rather not see anything that would get any pony in trouble. Her sweet voice chimed. I'm plugging my ears and blindfolding myself right now, and Angel Bunny's tying me to a chair. Hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil, do no evil.
Is this permanent?
Yes. I laughed right in her face.
You can't be serious.
I'm sorry. I was outraged, and understandably so. I had a right to be. I felt cheated by the world. I wanted to scream at the top of my lungs at the injustice of it all. I wanted to find somebody to blame, somebody to focus my anger on. Never did I feel so predatory, violent even.
There must be a cure or something like that. Anything, please.
My voice cracked. If there was, I'd give it to you. But unfortunately for you, and that lost soul that bit you, there isn't.
Wait. Lost soul? The lycan that bit me, what happened to him?
Luna sighed, a faraway look in her eyes. They were past the point of no return. That poor creature that you met had probably lost all of its mental faculties. Its memories, its personality. Only through guidance and support, lycans are able to live normal lives. She faced me. You mustn't lose yourself. In the face of the demon inside me, I laughed. I just laughed, throwing my head back and laughing at all of it.
At least it's only once a month, right? If full moon only comes once in a while.
I reasoned, pacing around, nearly stumbling when I tried to step forward with my claws, touching the mirror. Still in one piece, everything is fine. I was still me. Still Octavia, just a little more bitchy. Get it? Careful! Turning around, my eyes locked on my tail. There was a desire in me to chase it of all things. I began to follow my tail, trotting around in a circle as I tried biting it. Octavia! Vinyl yelled. Not now, Vinyl. I'm busy chasing tail. Must have tail. I snapped out of it, shuddering.
It's not so bad, see?
My smile widened. Your smile is painfully fake and appropriate.
Everything's fine.
The facade was still there. The mirror wasn't broken. Who's that in my reflection? Octavia! See? I'm right there. Just a little furrier.
Octi. I mean, it's a little inconvenient, but you can't have your cake and eat it too, right?
I giggled, a sob creeping in.
I'm right?
There was a crack in the mirror.
Octi.
Vinyl grabbed a hold of me. I was frantic, panicking.
This is great. Just great.
Octavia! She shook me, holding me. My metaphorical mirror shattered into thousands of tiny little pieces. I was trying hopelessly to put them back together, trying to solve the puzzle, cutting myself in the process. I couldn't help it. I cried. I broke down. My laughter slowly broke into sobs, and then the waterworks came. I must have looked pathetic to Luna, looking on silently as I held Vinyl, trying to burrow deeper into her coat. I felt a comforting hoof on my shoulder, and it wasn't Vinyl's. All is not lost, Octavia, Luna cried triumphantly. There's still hope. Salvation! She began to raise her hooves into the sky. Jeez, and I thought I was a drama queen. For you are not the only one. There is an organization dedicated to helping ponies like you, and Vinyl as well. I bit my lip. What choice did I have?
Go on.
I sniffed. I extend a hoof to you and welcome you. She paused, most likely for dramatic effect. The inner circle! I wiped a tear away and found myself chuckling.
Really? Really?
What? Luna declared from the air, grabbing her head where she had bumped it into the ceiling. The inner circle!
I could have came up with a better name.
Luna flushed. It's a perfectly legitimate and innocuous sounding name for an organization. Does it not strike fear into your heart? Does it not sound mysterious?
The inner circle sounds more like a crime syndicate.
I snickered.
What about Vampires Anonymous or Supernaturals?
I like it, she mumbled.
Is there introductions? Hey, my name is Octavia and I'm a lycan. Hi, Octavia. Or is there a 12-step program?
Names aside, what the inner circle does is no laughing matter. For centuries now since its inception, we work together to assist and aid vampires, lycans, and creatures alike with coping with their condition. I'm its founder.
Does your sister, Princess Celestia?
I asked.
Does she know what you are?
Luna smiled. Of course, she is perfectly aware of my vampirism, though not affected with it herself. In fact, once, she allowed me to feed off her.
Okay, too much information.
I shouted quickly. Yeah, TMI, princess. She huffed. In any case, Vinyl Scratch's recent actions have nearly led us to being compromised. Her parents, who donate generously may I add, were willing to cover the cost of damages. She glanced at her. Really, was that the best you could come up with? Vinyl smiled cheekily. Improvise? There were still some reservations.
Princess,
I gulped.
will there be problems in our relationship?
Pardon?
Well, you see, the thing is, Vinyl and I are together.
How sweet. What problems do you speak of, Octavia?
Well, saying that I'm this lycan, and Vinyl's a vampire.
Though the two of you will not be at odds. Luna sighed and rolled her eyes. It seems that many think that lycans and vampires are locked in a fierce war. I don't get it either, Vinyl piped in. I mean, it would make sense if we were like cats or something. Why can't we be friends? She sang. That was a relief.
What do members of this society do, Princess?
Luna cleared her throat. First and foremost, our goal is to help each other. Our second goal is perhaps a little less noble. We're the ones who will keep things the way they are, if you know what I mean, Vinyl said. Question's not ready to know about us, and you've got ponies like me to make sure things stay that way.
You mean you work to keep our existence a secret, then?
By any means necessary. She nodded. I frowned, studying my claws. It's not like I had a choice. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I extended my hoof. Luna smiled, shaking it. Welcome to the inner circle.
When do I start?
Meetings are every Friday, and you can also get in on very lucrative deals at your local supermarket.
Do you guys have a secret underground cave where you hold your meetings?
I asked excitedly. Luna frowned. No, we just meet in the local donut shop. My ears perked up in alarm. It seems like the moonlight beckons. Shh, Blue Pony, I want to go out. I let my new body take over, darting through the open window into Fluttershy's yard. I sniffed the ground, my ear in the air as I clawed around. She's like a dog. I barked.
Beg your pardon, I'm no such thing, and squirrel!
Mall later, squirrel now.
Hey, Octi.
She waved a stick around. Fetch! Vinyl hurled the stick away. I came back with a tree.
Who's a good girl? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Wait, hey, whoa, ouch!
Luna laughed, amused at her antics. I laughed at Vinyl's face, having tackled her to the ground.
Blah.
I planted my haunches down, howling a bone-chilling howl.
Oh.
That was a good one, Vinyl said nervously. I shall have my guards monitor you two for the rest of the night while I leave. I trust you two won't enter yourselves in any costume contests. Once upon a time in the magical land of Equestria, where mythical creatures roamed, there was a secret world where supernatural creatures like vampires and werewolves were real, a secret world where magic and myth, legends and conspiracies came to life before your eyes. And now, it seemed, I was part of this secret world. So that was it, huh? I'd live the rest of my life as this lycan. Sunset and rainbows from here on out? Maybe we'd all share a laugh at the end of this. Was this my happily ever after? There was no happy endings. I lied to myself that it was over. It wasn't. Not by a long shot. Fluttershy whimpered. Hello? Is there any punny there? Can you untie me, please?
Okay, well, it's really late at night right now, so I'm gonna do this really quick. So you gotta see what happened to Octavia after she bit. She's not a werewolf, she's a lycan apparently, and there's also a lot of references in this thing to some more subtler things if you tired. Anyways. So yeah, there's some references also in this chapter too, so really enjoyed some of them. I might have missed some, I don't know, so go and have a listen, and well, you've already listened to it, so goodbye.